All right, so I know I've been getting this asked a lot for a really long time about doing some basics, some detailing basics, or in this case today what I'm going to work on is car washing basics. And I've been telling my friend, my young friend Adam LZ, I've been telling him that, hey, we should make some videos while I'm sort of teaching you how to properly wash your car. And he could be the first, big, young YouTuber to actually know how to do it right, or at least do it my way, which is hopefully somewhat right. And so he's coming over today, and I was going to go down there, but I had to fill up my darn truck full of stuff. So I just thought it made better sense. So we did it in the wash bay under the, under cover. So he's coming up here today to work on this process. And so we're going to take his 335i. We're going to do the wheels and tires. Again, this isn't a full detail. This is just washing. So what we'll work on are wheels and tires, wheel wells, exhaust tips, and then we'll deal with washing the paint. And I may even start to introduce the idea of correcting the car. So Adam's going to come up, and if you haven't seen or haven't gone to Adam's channel or watched this stuff, I don't watch a lot of YouTube stuff. It frustrates me watching young dudes do nothing, all day. They just do nothing. They don't have any life experience, so they don't know anything, and they just drive around and they have this need to do daily vlogs, which are largely useless. But Adam's different, man. It's something about, he's just very intentional. I've talked about this a lot, where he has intention in everything that he does. He's married, has a house, has a bunch of cars, has some serious chaos in his life, and that's part of probably what's interesting. But he is a business sense that most people don't have that young. So I'd urge you to go check out his channel. I mean, I'm fascinated by YouTube in general, but most of it I just can't handle. And so Adam's one of those 3 or 4 channels that I actually go and watch every video as it comes out. It's just certain people have it. They have something that is interesting, and I don't know, maybe it's just my personal preference, but anyway, I'd urge you to go check it out. So we're going to work on that today. When Adam gets here, we'll work through a step-by-step process. My guess is he's going to have a lot of questions that I don't know the answer to, because he normally does, but it'll be interesting to go through the process of from start to finish, and then get him set up with all the proper gear so that from here on out he can start washing his car properly and do it in a fashion that makes sense. Rather than doing what most people do, which is halfway. And we'll see if he adapts. Adam's not obsessed with the details on cars, but I have shown him swirl marks, and now he can't unsee them. Once they're seen, they can't be unseen. And so there are certain aspects of now, once you usually want something better. And so we'll see if we can't get him on a regimen or a process where he has some sort of system on how he's going to care for his cars. Now again, it gets hard when you have so many of them, but at least he'll have a better process for washing. So stay tuned. We're gonna work through that today. All right, so Adam's here. We got the 335, white car, so we're not going to see dramatic results from just the basic wash, but we're going to get the car clean and mainly talk procedurally about what needs to be done in order to get the thing clean and then clean it on a regular basis. All right, so let's talk about wheels. So naturally, when you're washing a car, you're going to start with wheels first. And I've been messing with all these utensils, and I'm obsessed with not having too many things in the bucket. Right? There's so many different tools you can have, wheel woolies and different sponges and all kinds of crap that you could have. But these are like 7 things or 6 things that I think we need to wash the wheels. And so I always, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I always do the wheels first and then the tires second.
Why do you do the wheels before the car? Is that something, like I've always done the wheels after the car?
Well, think about it this way. I mean, the wheels probably take longer than the rest of the car. And so if I do the car is then drying while I'm messing with the wheels, and then I have issues with water spots and things like that. So you definitely want to do the wheels first. You're going to use different stuff anyway, so we don't have to worry about contaminating the bucket. I think what a lot of people do is they would use the same bucket that they use to wash the paint to do the wheels, and so it would make sense.
That's what I would do, so that way you're not then moving all that dirt back around the car.
I don't like to use, especially with normal brakes, I don't like to use a bucket. So this bucket is more for show than anything. It's just to hold all my crap. Like, I don't like a bucket filled with soap that I'm dunking my mitt back in because the wheels are so dirty. I'd rather just hold the hose or hold the pressure washer and just kind of spray off, and you kind of hit, and we'll show you in a minute, but hit the wash pad or whatever I'm using to clean the wheels while I'm doing it. So we're going to use two different types of products. We're going to use Adams rubber and tire.
Okay.
Right. So this is what we use on the tires, obviously, and then we're going to use a. This has a. I forget what the material or what the chemical makeup is of this, but this is the kind of stuff that turns purple.
It's like very acidic, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think these are non-acidic, but they have a solution in there, just like iron out, to get iron out of the paint, that removes sort of iron, breaks it down, so it turns from regular green or white or whatever color it is to purple. And so this is called the Nexet Color Tech. So I've been using, there's lots and lots and lots of different wheel cleaners, there's lots of different companies. This is the one I prefer because it still has a little bit of, I don't want to say softness, but you'll see we'll get some suds from it. Normally most wheel cleaners like this, you spray it on and it's just flat. I don't know, just for whatever reason, this German made stuff works the best for me. So these are the two products we'll use for the wheels, tires, and then we'll figure out on your BBSs which brushes we'll need. But we essentially have, I don't think this one's going to work for yours because of the tight spokes, but this is my favorite brush in the world. This is called an Incredibrush. It looks super dainty and doesn't look like it lasts a long time because it's microfiber, but the thing is it's built like a tank, it lasts forever.
That's right.
So that is what I would normally get in the barrels with, right? We'd use these easy detail brushes to get in and do the wheel wells, fender wells, right?
We're gonna need something like kind of small and pointy to get underneath those
we're gonna have to
spike bolts. It's tricky.
And then we have a brush which we can get in, and then this is my secret weapon. So your car especially, I mean, the wheels are tucked, and the tires, there's not a lot of room, and so you see a lot of tire brushes are these big bulky things. This is small enough that I can usually get in there and not bash at the fender or hit the lip of the wheel, especially if you have a chrome lip like these have, or a stainless lip. You don't want to scratch it up. So let's get rolling. All right, so check this out. This is part of something I've been obsessing over for a long time. You'd think this would be so simple, right? You think it'd be simple, you just buy a darn pressure washer gun. Now, we're cheating a little bit here. You wouldn't have this at your house because we have the pressure washer on the wall, runs through the ceiling, and we have this fancy boom pole. But think about this is really no different. And so one of the things that you'll notice on this thing is it swivels. So any pressure washer, once this locks down, everything's tight. And so as you're walking around, these these braided lines get all tangled up and it becomes a mess. And so one of the things that was important to me is, one, that it doesn't lock up, and then two, I can convert quickly to a short gun so that I can do my wheels. Huh. If I'm sitting here and I'm trying to do my wheels with a 20-inch wand, it just doesn't work. So instead, now we can get up in here and adjust. Katie Bell! Katie Bell, zip it! Oh yeah, we got kittens.
She wanted to come show Mr. Adam. I told her you guys were filming. She wanted to see if Mr. Adam wants to give one to Miss Nicole.
Oh boy.
So I didn't want anything to do with any animals, and after the third rat attack, I got a frickin' cat. I'm not an animal kind of guy.
Oh, I remember.
And so we got a cat, and like 3 weeks later, the cat's cranking out kittens. We had no idea. So anyway, back to our pressure washer gun. So when we eventually get you set up with a pressure washer, we'll want a swivel. We'll want the ability, so all these little quick disconnects don't come as part of it. And so you want to be able to break it down and adjust. So we're going to run, like this pressure washer is 2,000 PSI, which is too much pressure. You cut through the paint. So we're going to run this at like 1,100 PSI by just simply adjusting this. Gotcha. So this little nozzle here is a different size. So this is what's called a 6.0 orifice. So it takes 2,000 PSI down to about 1,200. Gotcha. And then we're going to use a 40-degree pattern so that it's not like a straight, straight laser beam at your wheels or at your paint. So another nice thing about a pressure washer instead of your hose is all like the dust boot behind your brakes and getting that all cleaned out.
Yeah.
And then there's less chance of it just flinging more brake dust on the wheel as soon as you drive it. So generally this stuff, you want to get it on the wheel and then let it sit for a little bit.
And then you agitate it?
Yeah, correct. Because it'll break down. So we're going to get in the barrels first. You generally don't want to do this when your car is hot, but we don't have a choice. That's it for a second. All right. So see, it's already turning super purple. So we're getting all kinds of crap off the wheels. So let's see here. Yeah, that'll work well. So here's one of those little tricks that if you get in here and you do the barrels every time, then they'll stay clean.
Yeah.
If you don't, then they won't.
These barrels are super grimy. That's just forewarning.
It's the one thing about the easy detail brush, it tends to fling.
Yeah.
But there's very few things that are going to fit in here in your wheels like this does, So you can see why I like to, if I was sticking this in the bucket every time, I'd have to change the bucket after every wheel. We're getting so much dirt. Instead, I can just spray it off. Alright, so let's get all your little bolt fingers.
That brush is cool.
Yeah, I'm never really a big fan of brushes unless you need it. Like, it'd be hard to get in here with a little mitt.
I'm always trying to do it with a mitt, and I'm always like annihilating my knuckles.
Yeah. So this
or ripping mitts.
This works pretty well for that. You would use this on valve stems. We're also going to use it on the lugs here in a second. This is one of those things that I know you're not as obsessed with this as I am, but like if I keep the lug area clean all the time, then every time I wash it, it's just a quick little touch, instead of a big project.
Those bolts, the dirt that would get behind them would drive me nuts. Like the wheels are the one things that I guess I used to obsess over back when I had time.
So this is the other problem, is that when you have, it's a little big for these lugs, when you have multiple cars, it's a lot of work. The only advantage I have is I have this covered wash bay, so we're at like noon out here being able to do it versus at your house you're going to do it at certain times when the sun's not out. This is merino wool. It's made out of lambskin. I imported this from the UK. Been in search for this for a long time. But see, helps me get in. I can also get behind here if I really wanted to get, like if these were my wheels, I would probably get in here and keep them clean every single time, and then they'll always stay dialed in. And then another nice thing is if you ever sold the wheels, if they're not all caked and the paint's not all ruined on the barrels, it's just helpful. I never even thought of doing that. It's a darn good idea. Adam's closing the doors for me.
That helped a lot.
Jeez.
Look at that.
That's another advantage to like the pressure washer will eventually get you, is it's not as noisy as this one. Plus this one runs for 30 seconds, the other one shuts off as soon as you release the trigger.
Yeah, you could probably even like put some soundproofing on those doors and make it even quieter.
Yeah. Well, normally I don't have an issue with it because I have a lav mic, but this mic is going to be loud.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's our wheel. So now let's do our tire. Spray our Adams on here.
I wish I didn't have to drive home after this.
It's probably going to rain too.
You think?
Yeah, I'm sure.
See, I normally don't clean the tires. What's the importance of cleaning the tires?
Well, because we're going to dress them, right? So we're going to dress them with something called Copro Pearl. No, I don't like shiny tires, but I like satin, clean tires. And so if you do this every time, then they stay clean, and you just kind of dress them real quickly, and then they always have that satin look to them. But notice how much dirt is coming off the tire already.
Yeah, I never clean them.
But see, the beauty of this little brush is I can get pretty tight in here and control it versus some bigger brushes. This brush is like $3, $5. It's super cheap.
Now what sort of brush? Oh, you're using the Adams rubber and tire.
Yeah, so this is Adams rubber and tire. Alright, let's do it twice. Get the weight dot off too. Balance it dot. It's probably been on there too long.
I'm not worried about it.
So, a couple little things you're never going to be able to unsee, just like when I showed you swirled out paint. The little nibs on your tires.
Oh, did you pull them all out?
I cut them off. Yeah.
I used to do that when I was a kid just because it was fun.
Yeah, well, get a pair of nail clippers, a little razor blade, cut those off.
Aren't those just from like the mold?
Yeah. They're I think to keep like air in between the molds. They you know, when they pour it, so you can get them out of the mold, from what I understand. So again, the advantage of doing this is that we have pressure, right? So we have high pressure, so we can get all the junk off the wheel and out of the out of the dust bits mainly.
Whoa, that's crazy. So the first thing Matt does is
oh, you know what? One thing I forgot.
the wheel well.
Yeah. So I always just take the easy detail brush and just go up under here.
Gotcha. Okay, so the first step was just spraying the wheel cleaner on it, right?
Correct.
But you make sure to try to get it inside, like kind of behind the barrel as well, right?
Yeah, first get it in the barrel. That's what I usually do.
Ooh, this stuff smells interesting. It almost smells citrusy.
Yeah, a lot of people really hate the smell of this stuff.
Yeah.
The smell of it's a lot worse. I think what helps us here is the humidity knocks down some of the stench.
Yeah.
But like, I know guys up north have to put these in like a Ziploc bag because it smells so bad.
Really? So we're gonna let that sit for a little while,
right,
and then it was this brush that we used for the barrel first?
Yep.
Okay.
A minute or two. So this is called the Easy Detail brush.
Gotcha.
And they make a small one too. So there's a big one and a small one. We need the big one because you want to get all the way in the barrels if you can.
Yeah, I normally don't clean my barrels just because it's so difficult because I normally use a wash mitt, but I can definitely see it being a lot easier with this.
Yeah. Notice it's turning purple.
Yeah. My mind's still broken from the idea of cleaning the wheel first. It's like, I don't know, brushing your teeth before you eat. It's weird.
It's just right.
So this is pretty much for the barrel.
Right, so grab the pressure washer gun in your other hand.
Oh, and then I should wash this brush out like every time, so I'm not just swinging
like
it.
every third time or so, just hit it.
I feel like that's kind of like a big must coming from someone who just uses normal hoses.
See, I've been torn on this. Like, is it better to have a legit because when in pressure washing, there's either junk or really, really high end. There's like a Porsche 918 or like a Kia, and there's nothing in between.
Gotcha.
And so that's the thing I struggle with is, would I rather have a Kia or would I rather just use a good garden hose, And so, the pressure washer does help, but for the first 10 years of washing, I use the darn garden hose and it's just fine,
Doesn't pressure washing help a lot for bugs?
A little bit. I'll show you how we deal with bugs here when we get to that, because you have some on the front bumper.
Oh boy, I wish I brought my truck, man. That thing's so bad, and I have to use the wash so badly.
Well, that's why I didn't want you to bring your truck. So I don't have to deal with it. Here, let me show you something.
Am I doing it wrong?
Yeah. Well, when you're doing this,
yeah.
So you just want to get in there and agitate. Instead of this doesn't really do much, so you can do a little quicker. Up, down. This makes a huge difference. Unfortunately, with these BBS wheels, we really don't have a
Well, I mean,
choice.
I think I was a little bit more meticulous with my scrubbing. I was making sure I got all the areas.
Yeah, but you weren't doing anything.
Yes, I was. Don't be a hater. So what's on this? Is it wheel cleaner? Like, what's making it sud so hard?
Yeah, so that's the advantage of this wheel cleaner. This is called NextZet Color Tech.
So it's almost like wash and wheel cleaner.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel better when I see some suds. Most wheel cleaners don't, like, if they have that solution in it to turn purple to break down the iron, then they generally don't.
Don't sud.
Yeah, they don't have any kind of lubrication. They just kind of sit there. I like this stuff because of that. So it's like it does both, the best of both worlds. I like watching your technique here. There you go.
What?
Hold it like a pencil.
Are you joking? I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm dead serious. It's fun watching somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
Do you really go as detailed as to how to hold the wash?
Well,
how to hold the brush?
yeah, I don't know. It just seems a more efficient way to do it and a less efficient way to do it. Alright, that's it. You're good.
I didn't get all of them yet, did I?
Yeah.
I lost track.
Now get the lugs.
You know, I'm going to be a little more obsessed than you, and I'm going to do it all twice. Matt's like, we're going to be here all day.
Yeah, you got 2 more wheels to do. So this brush, this is the XL. It's a little big for lugs like these.
So is that what you kind of do? You kind of go in and just spin it?
Yeah. Now I'll also have a tendency to blow it out a little bit more, keep it a little cleaner. I don't know, just my preference, but.
So
Right.
do I use this like this now?
You could. A lot of people use brushes, but I don't like it. I like to use that black mitt now, that little lambskin
Gotcha.
mitt.
Do I put my hand in this?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird. So this is like from an actual lamb?
So blow it, get some water on it first.
It's got water on it.
So now give it a good spraying.
I'm not used to the pressure washer.
So get the sand out of it you just got on there. Just as you're also penciling into your brain, that gun there is $110, so you want to
Be gentle?
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. $110, I feel like that's cheap for Matt Mormon. Now, I'd be concerned that there's not enough soap left on this. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I would say you're doing it a little slower. So as you get a little faster, then you.
Well, I don't know what to do. You yell at me if I'm going too slow. You yell at me if I'm not being detail oriented enough, Matt. I'm just trying to make you happy.
So I mean, you could always just add more too.
I mean, mind you
Spray.
too, this wheel is bigger than the wheel that you did, so more surface area to cover. I still feel like, see, I think that's something that we almost need to polish for. Like in between these spokes, it's still.
Yeah, there's some built up, and see that won't happen.
If you wash your wheels properly, regularly enough.
Correct. Yeah. I mean that's the main advantage of doing this, because you were just mentioning, on your way home, they're probably going to get dirty again.
Yep.
But if you keep them maintained, then they tend to stay a little cleaner.
But apparently, oh, that's nice. That's great.
So remember, you want to keep your brush wet, right? And so that's why I never really set the pressure washer gun down. Just hold on to it and just keep it in your lap. And usually, when you're doing the tire, you'll probably want to do, a quarter of it, spray it off, hit another quarter, spray it off. And then, with the tire, the faster the motion, the more work it gets done. There you go. Great. It's like I'm teaching my son how to wash a car for the first time.
It's probably the vibes that the video has as well. Alright, now you said to do it twice?
I think this one doesn't seem as dirty. Here's another little trick you're going to like. This wouldn't be part of the normal washing procedure. This is called Hydro 2, so this is like an instant sealant. Right, and so we'll hit the wheels.
That seals it?
Yeah. This is adding a layer of silicon dioxide to the wheels. And the way that this works is you want to get it on and get it right off. So now look at, you got beading, you got
That's
some beading
crazy.
there. This stuff isn't like super protective, like it doesn't add like a massive layer of protection, but it will help with stuff that, that would bond. So next time you wash them, they'll look a little You can use this on the paint too. That's a
Once
real quick way to seal it.
Once every couple months, I'll actually hit these with wheel wax. I don't know if you use wheel wax ever, but
Yeah, I mean the problem with wheel wax is that it doesn't last very long,
no.
and because of the heat. And so this is where, you know, we'll get into more advanced stuff as we go along here. But when you get new wheels, and these are older wheels, when you get new wheels, you'd want to coat them. You know, you do a long-term coating. I use a product called Optimum Gloss Coat, and that helps. It bonds with the paint, or bonds. It cross-links with the chemical compound of the actual clear coat, and becomes a permanent solution. And so then you'd always have permanent beading and more protection, so brake dust and stuff like that. Again, it's not impenetrable, but it will help. It'll help with your, like these little spots that kind of build up in the corners and stuff like that. So let's do the exhaust tips.
Okay.
All right. So on exhaust tips, I do it the same way. You treat it the same way as you do a wheel. So again, I got this sucker in my hand, and then I'm going to use some of the wheel cleaner.
That's interesting.
You theoretically shouldn't have any iron. That would be very bad if you had iron here.
Yeah.
So it should just be oil or soot. So we shouldn't see any purple there. And then I'll take actually a smaller brush. And I like to get the soot out of here if I can, at least out of the end. And then my philosophy is then it'll be less likely to spill over, if I do this every time.
Yeah, I've always just used like shampoo on them, and then used like actual polish when I'm all done.
You could use a metal polish.
Yeah.
Another product that I use often, it's called P21S polishing soap. It's not as aggressive as a metal polish, but it'll get like sometimes when you have caked on. So that's the extent of what I do with the exhaust. Done.
That's easy.
You could also use this. You can come around and do this and everything else. We'll work on your efficiency now. You're right, I like the every other.
See, it's so puzzling to me because like as a business-oriented person who has very little time yet to be so meticulous, they're like these two trade-offs. You must have just like an inner conflict all the time. Like, do I spend more time on this, or is it worth my time?
I think about that a lot, especially as I have to like talk on the camera. I'm about functional excellence. It needs to be excellent, but I need to be able to function, in life, in psyche, and it's not so crazy. And so sometimes it just has to be good enough.
Oh, good enough garage. Comes back again.
Another thing you can do is like if the wheel starts getting dry, you can kind of hit it with a little bit of mist.
Gotcha. Functional excellence. Didn't. Functional excellence. I didn't.
You're gonna use that, aren't you?
I didn't hose it off.
Trademarked it.
I hate to break it to you, Matt, but you didn't come up with that one. You need to get 2 power washers on that so we can tag team. Would that be hard to do?
When I built this, I didn't have any friends.
Well, because you have enough pressure where you could run like 1,000 psi in both, right?
Yeah.
If you had a splitter.
I could run a dual boom pole, yeah.
Wouldn't that be rad? Do you ever get any like cleaning products in your eyes that really burn?
Yep.
What specifically?
All of them. All right, so let's talk about foam cannon and getting set up to wash. Right, so we just did the wheels. So to recap, we did neck set, color tech on the wheels. We used the easy detail brushes to get in and hit all of the barrels, right? And then we used the raised glaze brush to get all like the little spokes and little areas, the lugs. And then we hit the rest of the wheel, the face of the wheel, and all the spokes with the lambskin mitt. And you see the disadvantage of the easy detail brush. We got stuff flung all over us. Obviously with BMW you have to deal with brake dust, it's part of the game. And then we did tires with Adams rubber and tire cleaner, and then the what's it called? The little tire brush, Tough Shine, the little Tough Shine tire brush. So now we're going to get set up for using the foam cannon. Now the solution that you're going to mix up, this is largely dependent on your pressure washer. How much pressure does it have? How good is it? You're going to have a really hard time getting the amount of foam we're about to get from mine because I've got this really expensive, high-powered machine on the wall. You could go out and buy a cheap gas one that'll have just as much flow, if not more than this. But if you do electric, the advantage of electric is you release the trigger and they generally turn off. So for my setup, in most cases, I'm going to use 150 ml. So the bottles, this bottle is marked. This is called the PF22. So this is the best foam cannon on the market. And then you have the original foam cannon. So the company that makes this is called MTM, right? So this is their original. This is their newest, their best. And then there are 1,000 knockoffs of this. And then there are a bunch of companies like Chemical Guys and some of the other companies that will just buy this from MTM and use theirs. But they're usually using the old one. I don't think MTM has sold this to anybody. So this is the best foam cannon. There's a couple of advantages. It allows you to, we can twist the pattern so it can be flat or vertical, the pattern of soap. We can adjust how, the stream. And then this is just more adjustable, and it tells you which way is, see, this one doesn't tell you which way is more positive or negative, so this one helps. I run it at fully open. And so we'll put 150 mLs. This is Adam's car shampoo. 150 mLs is not like science, it's just what I've gotten used to using. Works. And then the next step we'll set up, so this is a microfiber madness. This is actually a mitt. I hate mitts. I like pads. So actually, per me and my little community, they're making a pad.
Really?
Yeah. So I've tried dozens and dozens and dozens of pads. I used to use the Adams. This one is just, the microfiber is a little gentler on the paint. You have less chance of holding things in and then scratching. And then a little trick that I learned from Adam is that you take and you put your soap on the mitt rather than in the bucket. For whatever reason, you get a little bit more suds and you have less chance of like shooting the water out the bucket and losing half your soap. So we put a couple of ounces on here. All right, so this little contraption is my little dream, little thing that I made up, is a bucket filler. So when I built this wash bay, I decided I'm going to take the hose bib and I'm going to put it up higher and then put a little 24-inch hose so I don't have to get like a giant, 50-foot hose out to fill it up. So you know about grit guard, right?
Yep.
So we have a little guard in the bottom of the bucket. This is my bucket system. I'm taking so much heat for because it's so expensive. But these are grit guard dollies, and then I use a 6-gallon bucket. And then these buckets are 90 mil, so they're thicker. And then where normal buckets are either like the ones you have that I have the Obsessed Garage stickers, some of my prototypes, those are 5-gallon. And so that extra gallon just gives us a little bit extra water, so I don't have to come back and fill it up more, when I'm halfway through the car. So here's a secret trick my buddy taught me. I don't know why, for years I never thought of this, but we're going to take and fill up our foam cannon in the bucket.
Oh, see, what I've always done is put the water in first and then the soap.
You can, but then you don't know how much soap you're putting in. That's the problem.
It's true.
So because your car isn't huge, we don't need this whole foam cannon. We only need that much. We'll get a little bit better foam too. So the advantage of putting the soap in after is it won't settle on the bottom. But then I don't know exactly how much soap I'm putting in, and so I like to put it in first and then just do this. It doesn't do you any good to shake it up because you'll get this will fill up with suds, and so I always just kind of mix it around like that. So my normal procedure is I'll fill up the rinse bucket, fill up the foam cannon, we're gonna go foam the car, then we'll come back and we'll fill this up. I just don't want to waste suds, I don't want to have to put more water in it, and so I'll fill this up when I'm actually ready to wash. So let's do it. You take the foam cannon.
Is the correct procedure to foam from the top down and like kind of angle it so you push the stuff off the car?
No. The key is to get the foam to sit on the car, so that way it'll do its thing, hopefully breaking down some dirt, and then it'll eventually run off the car when gravity will pull it down.
I'm so excited to use this. This is my first foam cannon experience. It's cool that it swivels.
You don't have to, but
What?
you're gonna run out of soap, so you have to go and get the whole car. See, this is the common misconception. Like, you're seeing foam, but most people's foam doesn't look like this.
No.
All the YouTube foam crap is not this.
This is crazy. It looks like snow. What did you just use, like $3 worth of soap?
I think it's like $2.75 or something like
Just for
that.
the foam?
No, between the two. I'm using about 6 ounces. See, one of my crazy people told me how much I use in soap.
Now you pour that back in the bucket?
Yep.
That's what I do.
Take a little bit of extra. Pour it in there. All right, so let's talk about foam here for a second. When we're foaming the car, so notice it's pulling, so it's running off the paint. A couple of disadvantages to soap is it's going to leave a soap residue. A lot of people don't like soap; they use a different method rather than foaming the car. But in general, the general thesis here is that I rinse the car, so I get the initial layer of dirt off. I spray the foam on the car. That's going to then run and pull, hopefully lift and then pull dirt, or at least break down dirt to some extent. And then a lot of people, what they'll do is then they'll spray this off, right? And the philosophy there is that I'll spray it off so I can get a little bit more dirt off before I actually touch it. I've tested it. I find that step largely useless. I just don't like doing that. I actually prefer to leave this soap on the paint because this is pH balanced or pH neutral. One of the byproducts of pH neutral, the reason why we want pH neutral is so it won't break down the wax, right? So we don't want something that's
Dish soap.
You know, we don't want it to be acidic because we don't want it to break down the soap or the wax or the sealant that's on the paint. I like to leave this on because then I have less chance of water spotting because this essentially neutralizes the water. It's a byproduct of it. So now we're going to go around and wash the thing. All right, so the general philosophy here, 2-bucket method, right? I'm going to put the dirty mitt in the 1 bucket, rinse it off, and then put it in the soap, and then put it on the car. And so you're right, we start top down, right? So I want to start up here. Now, one of the keys, and the reason why I don't like using a mitt, like why I don't like putting my hand in here, is I feel like I'll have a tendency to lean in, have more pressure, right?
Matt, your buckets are rolling away.
You know, that's what they always do.
The bearings in them are too good.
So I want to let the mitt do the work, right? I don't want to be in here buffing out the paint if I can help it. And if I have a good wax or sealant on the paint, this should be all I really need. And so as I'm washing,
Are you going in straight lines or?
see, I don't think it matters. Straight line, circle, just get the dirt off the car. And so in general, yeah, I'm going to do straight lines, but so I think the more important thing is pressure. I don't want pressure, right? And I want to use, so I'll do, let's say I do this section, I already did a little bit larger area. I'm going to do this section and I'm going to flip and I'm going back. So I don't want to do like the whole top of the car.
You want to rinse it off more.
without revisiting the buckets.
So what about if you have a hard to get spot, like let's say from a bug or like some sap from a tree? Would you just go over that and leave it and then come back to it later rather than
Bingo.
scrubbing it?
Bingo.
Because when you scrub it, then the mitt picks it up and then you're moving it around, right?
Right. So let's say we had a bird dropping or something on your roof. We're going to do it on the front bumper here. But if we have a spot that you can't get with this, you don't want to be sitting here because all I'm doing is I'm loosening up the sand and dirt that's on the paint. So I'm lifting some of it, but a lot of it I'm just pushing it around, which then hopefully will get rinsed off. But I'll get those bugs or get that tar or get whatever the bug drop or bird dropping when I'm doing the drying,
Gotcha.
the drying step. Because then I could apply some pressure if I needed to,
Then you
because
use
I've gotten all
a
the
product
dirt
when you
off.
do
Yes, we'll use a drying aid.
that? Interesting. I feel like that's another like commonly messed up thing. Oh, it's scratching my paint, Matt.
Anyways,
Come on. Have you never cleaned a roof rack before?
I have not.
They're annoying. All the water sits in them, you go to drive, and then it all dumps out all over the car.
That's why we're going to blow it out. So I think you're always better off dealing with smaller sections than larger before I revisit the bucket, you know. So we'll come back and we'll deal with these bugs when we dry. Another thing you could do if the bugs are really bad is you could spray this off and then come back with a bug sponge, which maybe we'll do that. I just don't want to use a bug sponge and be beating the crap out of the paint when there's still sand or dirt on it.
Understandable.
So, and then I'm sure you know this trick, but on the sides, as I work my way down, right? So I go down and I don't come back up, and I flip.
Oh, that makes sense. So you're not bringing the dirt from down low.
Correct.
How crazy do you go with like washing underneath the car?
I don't. You don't really have to worry about that. Yeah, see, do this. So I'm going to do this section, so I'm going to come at it left to right, rather than up and down. And then I flip, so I did that section, right? And then I'm going to come here. I'm going to do this section. So now, let's talk about deionizing. You want, especially since you don't have a covered area, right? So I've got this set up, and you can easily hook this up to a pressure washer. But this is the wall mount. They make a cart mount version, but this is a deionizer. And so I'm going to switch from tap water to deionized water, and then deionized water. In theory, I wouldn't need to dry the car, right? So I could rinse the car down and just leave it, and I won't get water spotting. I still like to dry the car because I like to add like wax or something to it as a drying aid. But this will allow us to not have to worry about drying it, or if you're in the sun, not have to worry about water spotting. So since we just sprayed this off, got the bulk of the dirt, or all of the dirt off the paint, I'll go in my wash buckets and I'll use a bug sponge to get these heavier bugs off. Now, you'll find that when we get to the point where we really have your car protected, you won't have to do this. They'll come right off.
Gotcha.
There were enough on here that we really wouldn't want to try to get those off in the drying step.
I think there's quite a bit on my fairing and my roof rack as well. Now, what is that sponge made up of?
It's microfiber on one side, and it's like a honeycomb.
Gotcha.
Something or other.
That's okay on the paint.
Yep. So this is where we'll hit up good old-fashioned gas leak thrower. And no, it doesn't blow gas through or oil through the outlet. I'm not ruining the paint. We're not ruining the car.
I have an electric one.
Yeah, electric's good too. They just don't have as much CFM, as much output. Yeah. That Easy Go is a decent. That's about as good as electric's gonna get. Yeah. So I'd probably get one of those at some point, but this steel is awesome. So we want to get as much water as we can off the paint. Eventually, when we get some really good protection on there, almost all the water will come off. This will also be real helpful for your roof rack.
Yeah.
Getting all the crap out so we aren't blowing it all over the back window. If we had this really well corrected or protected, all this water would shoot right off.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Optimum Car Wax. We use this as our drying aid. So essentially what we want is, we still have some water on the paint. We want a layer of lubrication, right, to help avoid any toweling marks or scratching. Now this stuff is a little trickier because it is a wax, so we don't want to, just cake this on. The more you put on, the harder it is to get off. Now another thing you want to do, a little trick, even though I have nice towels and I take care of them, you still want to make sure that there's nothing in it. you know, that there isn't something sticking out that could, you know, damage the paint. So that's just a good practice to get into. Every time a towel touches the car, you want to inspect it. So again, I just did 4 squirts on this area. This is going to add a layer of wax.
Now, is there any specific pattern that you're supposed to be doing or no?
No, doesn't matter. Again, since the car's clean, the whole top to bottom, left to right doesn't really matter.
So do you spray it and then use the clean side to kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, you'll see it. You can still see some streaking, so I'm probably going to want to use a couple of towels.
Gotcha. So I'll start on the trunk?
Yeah, that's fine. Or you can do the roof since that part sucks.
I'll leave that to the pro. Now, is this okay to get on windows, carbon fiber spoilers, etc.?
You can. You don't want to. We'll do the windows last, but if you get on the window, we're gonna have to get it off. So.
Now, should I do this in small sections, like the trunk half and half?
Yeah. Don't spray huge areas with this stuff because it'll get super smeary. It'll dry. There are some other drying aids that won't look as nice as this after we're done, that are a little easier to work with, but I like this.
This stuff smells nice.
Coconuts. So that's what we're going to do there. Another drying aid called Kinotech Showroom Shine. I like using this. I like using this in the door jambs because I don't know, I think it smells good. I want to use it somewhere. I don't like it on the paint as much, but I feel like it does better in the dirty areas of the car. And then these towels seem too good to be using on the dirty door jambs, but I love it for this application.
So do you know anything about Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Should I buy Bitcoin?
No.
When it goes down?
Never.
Wow. You know how like crazy it's gone up, right?
Yeah. So that means too late. You missed the party.
Apparently it's still predicted to go way higher.
You know, it may. You know, in general with investing, you know, buying speculative things like that. I don't know. I think you need to really get immersed into it and really follow it and become sort of an expert on it. Otherwise, you just leave it alone. Because what will end up happening is you end up buying it high and selling it low. Yeah, well, stock in general.
But that's only, I think I only bought like 10 grand in it.
Yeah.
And that was a while ago.
But see, again, with investing, I think you either get really into it, deep into it, and you actually, you know, you actually follow securities and you learn about, you know, how to analyze them, or you just don't do it. Like
I just did it when I was in like in a class that talked a lot about investments, so it just made it more like interesting to me because I actually had something to.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how you say I just put 10 grand into it.
It might have been 5. Anything less than it'd be pointless.
That shows the scale of your. So trick on windows is, now this is like a hybrid coating / cleaner. It's called Optimum Gloss, or Optimum Glass Clean and Protect. But the key with windows in cleaning them is waffle weave.
Oh, the
towel. Right.
Right.
See, you would think this is not really designed for windows, but it does such a great job of, I don't know, one, grabbing any dirt or bugs or anything like that. But it also is pretty heavy GSM, grams per square meter. So it's heavy enough that it soaks up water pretty well, or whatever you want to call this. So you'll use one towel as your clean towel, the other towel as your dry towel. Now here you can use all the pressure you want.
Is glass harder to scratch than paint?
No, but I find that you're not going to scratch it with this. It's a lot harder to unscratch than paint. So what happened to our GT3 dreams?
It's just like
Too much.
Financially, it doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
Like the amount of benefit I'll get out of it compared to the amount of money it'll offset me,
Mm-hmm.
and then like amount of enjoyment per dollar. Like I'll get much more enjoyment out of the S15, much more videos of the S15. Like even single turboing this.
Yeah, but dude, isn't it time to upgrade your audience? You're ready for that. So when you're doing glass, you always want to spray the whole window, right?
Gotcha.
So that way you don't do half and then you come over here and you clean this half, you go over there, and then you come back and spray it and you get it all over. All right, so this is called CarPro Pearl. I use it straight up. You can dilute it, but it even calls for 1-to-1 when you're doing tires or rubber. This is an Adams foam block, which is not anything special. It's just a block of foam, but I buy them from Adams because I don't know where else to get it. Put some on here, put it on the tire. And see how we're not getting shine, we're getting satin. I don't like shine. I don't like shiny anything.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so one of the nice things about Adams rubber and tire cleaner is it doesn't completely strip this off. Now I think Adams sent you some VRT, which is the same kind of stuff, but this is better. So there's our tire.
That's awesome. Such a large TV screen.
I never use.
I know. I'm glad I didn't put it. I used all the cabinets.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about taking the TV out because I'm always making videos out here, so the TV doesn't do me any good. All right, so I always wonder how many times, how many different iterations of doing the exact same thing can I make in a video series where washing a car and talking through people through different stuff, and a lot of it's new products. But this is the first time I've taken somebody who hasn't used a process similar to mine to wash it. So we changed the way you do wheels. Right?
Well, the order.
Right. So we changed the order. Of course, we changed the products, right? Which products you're using.
I do use some of the same stuff though, like the Adams shampoo I use. And
yeah, I mean, so the products we used for the paint were the Adams car shampoo, with the MTM foam cannon. We also deionized when we rinsed. That was it's a time-saving step, because let's say you were going out to dinner or something like that and you washed your car and you ran out of time, you could just hit it with a deionizer and walk away, drive to the place, and you wouldn't have to worry about water.
And it wouldn't water spot ever, no matter what. Have you tried it?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Like Michelle's car, I never dry it. I just deionize it and leave it.
Huh.
And it's good. Now, you have to make sure your cartridges are up to date. There's a TDS meter on the front. You have to make sure it reads 0. Otherwise, you could get spotting. But also, it depends on your water, too. If you have really, really crappy water, then you can blow through more resin. It's more expensive. We also I'm sure you use a drying aid for the first time. A lot of people have used detail spray.
Yeah.
Instead, we used car wax. You could use detail spray, you could use car wax, you could use something...
H2O garden gloss.
You could use something like that, right? Like a sealant. You could use some sort of thing to help lubricate, to make sure you're not making toweling marks. So we didn't use pressure on the mitt. We also made sure to wash from top to bottom. And we then followed with a drying aid. And so the combination of the three, especially on a white car, we ought to be able to get the job done without scratching the crap out of it. We also dealt with the door jambs using Kinetech Showroom Shine and the door jambs. We did the windows with Optimum Glass Clean and Protect, and then we did the CarPro Pearl on the tires. And so we have that was what I would call a routine wash. So it's taken us 2.5 hours because we're making videos, but normally that would take probably an hour and a half to do, if you're kind of cruising through it. So anyway, that's a little different video, a little different take on how to do it simply and do it using my process and using all the products that I like. Anything else? Anything else you got? We're sweating.
Well, I know it's hot out here. I'm stoked for the correction.
Oh shoot. Next up, teaching Adam how to correct his paint. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.
Dialed in.